on this. I'm joined by the South African Human Rights Commission's Gashwell Brooks. Gashwell, good evening. Thanks very much for coming through. It would seem that racism is, or at least allegations of, keeping you very busy these days.
Indeed. Good evening to you, Vu, and of course everyone watching. Yes, I mean, based on our trends analysis report that we released recently, the 2016-2017 financial year, again, we find that equality is amongst the highest ranking. The complaints that we receive, and the vast majority of those complaints are based on race.
But, I mean, when you look at them in their totality, yes, there have been incidents, I mean, that have already gone to the courts. I mean, Angelo Agrizzi has admitted to being a racist. But when you look at the bag full of complaints, allegations and charges, what is your sense? What is your sense?
Well, I mean, the Commission's position on this is that increased reporting doesn't necessarily mean that we are a racist society,
racist.
Or that we've become more racist, as the common term goes. Racism is still prevalent within South Africa, and it has a lot to do with our past. And the fact that there's a lot unresolved from our past, and a lot of people feel entitled, and there's many terms that we can use in terms of that sense of entitlement that certain people feel in being able to continue to be racist. But of course, the Commission is then taking the appropriate steps, as in this particular instance, where we can't stand by and have Mr. Agrizzi use these types of terms in relation to other human beings and just leave it as be. It needs to go to the Equality Court so that it can be heard, and obviously we can deal with this in an appropriate manner.
Does it matter to you that he has admitted to being a racist?
It does, because we can't live in a society where we make admissions of our wrongs and do not atone for it in any particular way. I mean, I can't come out and say that I'm sexist. I can't say that I'm, prejudiced towards particular groups, and just accept that based on my confession of those particular prejudices, that should go unscathed, that I unfairly discriminate against a particular group of people. I can't say I'm homophobic, and on that basis, that's just the way I am, and I should be left alone. These types of attitudes, these actions, these words need to be corrected. We need corrective action. Of course, the Commission also wants to stress that this is with specific reference to the specific words that he used. We understand, and we firmly believe and support the fact that Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has made it clear that the racism and the allegations of racism doesn't have an impact on the rest of his testimony. That is not our concern. Our concern is obviously the use of these particular words in this instance.
Does following up or adding an apology to your admission that you are a racist make any difference?
In certain circumstances, yes, it does. Of course, if it's an act of contrition and there's a person that is guilty of such an offense, is truly sorry, wants to atone for what they have done, and takes the country into their confidence and the people of this country into their confidence, and says that apart from saying that I'm sorry, apart from seeking your forgiveness, A, I don't want to act in this manner again, and B, I want to take every possible step not to repeat such similar acts or such similar statements, then of course there's room for forgiveness and to be able to work with an individual like that. But the key question is, and this is I think what the test for the Equality Court would be in this instance, do we have an unrepentant person who says that I'm a racist, full stop, or is it a person that says I was racist, I did say racist things, I apologize for that, and I'd like to atone for that? That is what we need to ask here.
And by way of process, what's going to happen next, leading to what?
Well, I mean, this matter is referred straight to the Equality Court. So in this particular instance, our complaints handling procedure won't necessarily have a massive role to play in terms of investigation. Of course, we'll need to investigate the matter further to ensure that we have a solid case to take to the Equality Court. But this here is a typical example of how ordinary South Africans can use the Equality Courts, which are present throughout the country, to be able to resolve issues of this nature, where we do have breaches of equality. Of course, equality is race is a subset of a broader equality framework. And as I mentioned, some of the examples, unfair discrimination on the basis of race, gender, sex, sexual orientation, religion, age, disability, and a long list of other matters can be taken to the Equality Court for resolution. And we hope that we find that resolution. We're pretty confident that we will.
To some, I still think that this is a storm in a teacup, or no one was particularly offended. What does racism do?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that attitude of saying that it didn't hurt anyone in particular. So if you and I happen to have a conversation in private that happens to be homophobic or xenophobic or anything of that nature, no one hears about it. The argument would be put forward that, no, no one else is going to be injured in the process. But many people are hurt in the process because we're perpetuating it. And those attitudes don't end then and there between the two of us in that particular unheard conversation. It permeates throughout life. And I think that what is important for South African society to understand is that we need to eradicate it rather than make sure that we do it in the privacy of our closed doors, behind the privacy of our closed doors. We need to eradicate this behavior.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
For coming through. Communications Coordinator for the South African Human Rights Commission, Gashua Brooks.